Hey, what's up, everybody? It's just Charles Sebastian, and welcome you guys to another episode of the DREAMERSPRO show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and when we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see it. Folks, we are back, and we got a lot of stuff we got to catch up on. But before we even get into that, please make sure you like the video and sub to the channel if you haven't already. Let's get into this topic right here. Right, so this week we decided to take off. Right, we didn't produce any content. We were just relaxing. The week prior to us going on break, there wasn't really much going on in the sports world. And just as it would be, the week we decided to go off is when some interesting things start happening, right? And one of those things were centered on some comments that Anthony Edwards had to make, I believe when he was speaking to the Wall Street Journal, if I'm not mistaken. And Anthony Edwards said the following. We want to put it up for you on the screen. He said, "They say it was tougher back then than it is now, but I don't think anybody had skill back then. Jordan was the only one that really has skill. So that's why when they saw Kobe Bryant, they're like, oh my God. But now everyone has skill." So those were the comments that came out about Anthony Edwards about 5 days ago, right? And ever since he put out those comments, everyone and their grandmother have basically been reacting to what he had to say. And one of those people that reacted to it was none other than Lakers legend Magic Johnson. So apparently Stephen A. Smith was at a conference or some forum, something he was hosting. I don't know what the event was. And on stage with him, he was there talking to Magic Johnson. And they were talking about things like Kobe Bryant, the GOAT conversation, and a plethora of other things. But then it got to the point where Stephen A. Smith asked him to react to the comments that Anthony Edwards had to make about players from his era. And when it came time for Magic Johnson to talk, man, he basically flamed Anthony Edwards and just basically sunned him like, yo, son, I don't even be responding to people. Forget about this on my level. That people that don't even have a single credential to their name to make it worthy for me to even feel like I need to respond to them. But before we even get into what Magic Johnson had to say, today's video is brought to you by our sponsor, Game Time. Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. For example, I am super excited about the upcoming MLB games. With Game Time tickets, I can easily pick the best tickets for me. I love that I can choose between different deals. I have the option to select the cheaper deal, the best option deal, or my favorite, the flash deal. The flash deal gives me the option to find discounts that I can only find on Game Time. Once I select the ticket I want, I can view my seat. And it's not just restricted to baseball. I can also look for the best ticket deals for other sports like football, the NBA, concerts, comedy, or other theater shows. Included in my purchase, I also have a 24-hour return guarantee, a lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection. So take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. And remember, whenever you support this sponsor, you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So what we'd like to do now is like to play exactly what Magic Johnson had to say in response to Anthony Edwards, and then we're going to come back and really get into the show. Take a listen to what Magic Johnson had to say here.
Anthony Edwards just said the other day that there really wasn't any skilled players in the NBA back in the day outside of Michael Jordan. That's what he said. Your response to that, Irvin Magic Johnson?
Well, you know, I don't never respond to a guy that's never won a championship. There's not nothing to really say. He didn't win a college championship. I don't know if he even won a high school championship.
So you heard what Magic Johnson had to say there, right? That's what he had to say. Before I even get into my thoughts, I want to read some of the things that people were saying about Magic Johnson's response to Anthony Edwards. And I'm going to read from ESPN/NBA on ESPN Instagram page. They put up a post. I want to read some of the comments. One person said, Ant don't have you know what, so who's really winning? Another person says, to say MJ was the only player with skill is crazy though. Another person said, what is it? I'd have 5 rings too if Kareem carried me. Another person said, I don't respond, and he responded. Another person said, Magic, Bird, Isaiah, Malone, Worthy, Clyde, Hakeem, and Kareem, guess they were all truck drivers. Another person said, Magic, Cook, Ant, not gonna lie. Another person said, Magic getting offended is exactly the problem with old heads. Magic is not the type of player Ant was talking about. He was talking about the other 95% of the NBA. 90s teams had 1 to 0 superstars, and the best championship teams had 2 to 3. In today's NBA, just to sniff the playoffs, you need 2 or 3 of those type of players. And one person said Magic Johnson equals a more popular Ben Simmons, right? So that's what people were saying in response to Magic's comments. What are my thoughts on this? I have a lot of thoughts on this, and I think a lot of people are going to disagree with me. Probably there are going to be people that disagree with me, but I don't care. What are my thoughts on this? Going through those comments, here's what happened. There were people that read what Magic Johnson said, and they knew that he was 100% right in what he was saying. Like, yo, son, you haven't accomplished anything to even be talking, right? And they tried to basically say Magic's credentials shouldn't play a part in him and whether or not he decides to respond to Anthony Edwards or not, right? There were people that were saying that. There were also other people using Magic's comments as, oh, you know, he's just hiding behind his resume, things like that. So since they knew that that's what he was doing, or that's what they felt like he was doing, they now said, oh, that's all he's doing. So, and is justified in what he's saying. There are 2 things to pay attention to. Number 1, Magic Johnson's resume allows his words to carry more weight than Anthony Edwards. That's the reality, and he just pointed that out. Number 2, Anthony Edwards' comments were wrong-headed. Those are the 2 things here that we need to address. Magic was right because he's right in general. And number 2, Magic is also right to say, but I don't respond to people like this that haven't accomplished a damn thing in their careers for me to be sitting up here and reducing myself down to the level to sit up here and respond to them. Let's just take a quick snapshot at what Anthony Edwards has done in his NBA career thus far. Anthony Edwards came into the NBA. What year was he drafted? He was drafted in 2020. In those years, 4 years or whatever, he's made 2 All-Star teams. He's made an All-NBA second team, an All-NBA rookie first team in 4 years. What does Magic Johnson did? Now, obviously, we're looking at the totality of his career, but a lot of what he did also occurred from the very beginning of his NBA. His NBA career. He basically was drafted in 1979 to the Lakers, and in his career, he's a 5-time champion, 3 times Finals MVP. He was the most valuable player in the NBA. He won that 3 times. He was a 12-time All-Star, 2-time All-Star Game MVP, 9-time All-First Team player, 1-time second. So he's a 10-time All NBA player. He led the league in assists 4 times. He led the league in steals 2 times, and he was part of the 50th team, the anniversary 50th team, and he's part of the 75th team as well. And he did a lot of stuff, outside of the NBA as well, right? College and all of that. So Magic Johnson has a resume, and it's because of his resume that people listen to him. That's the part that we have to address. And I think that that's the part that's going to eat up people that want to come to the defense of Anthony Edwards, even if it's former NBA players talking sports, talking basketball, right? They're going to want to say, well, what Anthony Edwards said is valid regardless of his accomplishments. You can't take away Magic Johnson's accomplishments, because if Magic Johnson was just some two-time All-Star sitting somewhere talking, would people listen to him? Yes. But would they pay attention to him the way that they do, given the fact that he's Magic Johnson? Of course not. So his resume, his accomplishments carry weight. And Magic is looking at it from the standpoint of, I'm Magic Johnson. This is Anthony Edwards. Why would I stoop to the level of Anthony Edwards to respond to him? And this is not the first time this has happened. A person that used to be very, very popular for doing this was Jay-Z. At one point, Jay-Z was the biggest rapper in the game. And Jay-Z believed it to be beneath him to go at rappers or say their names if they weren't on his level. There was even a bar when he put in the song, I think Takeover, when he went at Mobb Deep, and he was like, y'all only get half a bar. F y'all, you know what? That's what he said to Mobb Deep. Now, Nas, he put out an entire song about him because he viewed him as an equal to a certain extent. But for him to be responding to Anthony Edwards, he believes that it's beneath him. From an accomplishment standpoint, it is. From an accomplishment standpoint, it is. Now, does that hurt some people's feelings? Absolutely. But that's life. Get your weight up. Get your weight up. You're not going to be able to be somebody that's worth $10 million walking into a room trying to talk business with people that are worth $500 million. They're not going to take you seriously. They're not going to take you seriously. And if it hurts your feelings, get your money up. Get your money up. That's the first part. The second part is this. Anthony Edwards' comments were asked backwards. I had a back and forth with Gilbert Arenas via text, and Gilbert Arenas was trying to qualify and try to intellectualize what he was saying. I'm like, no. He was like, well, he's only talking about position. I'm like, but he never said anything about position. You're saying about position. He said in Jordan's era, he didn't talk about no guards. And it's not implied that he's talking about guards. He said his era. Right? He's talking about his era. And to say that, it just says that you don't know anything about your sport. And that's sad. You don't even know anything about your own industry. It's embarrassing. It's your industry. I'm not an NBA player. Anthony Edwards is. You're supposed to at least have some knowledge of your industry. And then it begins to make me think, if you don't know anything that occurred in the NBA prior to you getting there, then how are you really going to expand your game over time? How are you going to gain inspiration from players? Kobe Bryant knew a lot about that. He was a student, literally a student. That's why he could draw from people's games like Hakeem Olajuwon, Jerry West, and all of these guys that came before him. You have to have an overall awareness for you to be able, because if you know more about the game and the players that it's produced, the great players it's produced, you can add more to your repertoire. I've heard Kobe Bryant talk about Alex English. That's how you really expand your game, by expanding your knowledge on the game. But apparently, Anthony Edwards has zero knowledge. And people are butthurt in the comments saying, well, he's going to throw out his right. Yeah. If we make content about Shannon Sharpe, I don't expect Shannon Sharpe to respond to me. He's in a totally different stratosphere. I don't expect him to. Because in Shannon's mind, he's like, I'm shooting down. I'm shooting down. Now, as human beings, that's a different thing. But in this content creating space, he's shooting down. And he is. He is. So if that bothers you, tough. That's life. That's life. These are my thoughts. Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. We'll catch you on the next show. Peace.